Hi guys, welcome back to Good by Grains. As you can see, we are not in my kitchen today. Today we are going to be going through some of mine and my husband's favorite paleo foods lately. If you've been reading my blog, checking out my recipes, or watching any of my other videos, a handful of these ingredients will not come as any surprise. But one of the things I hear most often when people learn about paleo, learn about the paleo diet, the paleo way of eating, is usually, well, what am I going to eat? Or I don't want to give up, bread or pasta or cookies or something like that. And so I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that there's nothing good for you to be able to eat, and this diet's going to be boring or something like that. So today I'm going to show you a handful of the items that we always have in our fridge, pantry, freezer. They're always on our grocery list if we run out, and they're just some of our favorites. So let's get started. Okay, so one of the biggest things that we usually like to buy is some of our favorite fruits and vegetables, basically produce. We like to buy in bulk so that they will last us at least weeks, sometimes longer. One of those favorites is broccoli. Now, this is not organic broccoli, it's just regular broccoli. It comes in a 3-pound bag. If organic broccoli is on sale at the grocery store, I will usually just stock up on that. But this is super convenient for weeknight meals. It's already chopped up into florets. It's already pre-washed, and all I do is just line a baking sheet with some foil, throw this on there with a little bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper, and roast it in the oven at 400 degrees, and for probably about 20 to 25 minutes. It's our pretty much staple roasted vegetable. I don't even have to think about it. I make large batches and then just keep it in the fridge, and then we just kind of reheat it either under the broiler or chop it up and put it into eggs and meat for the weekend. It's really convenient to have, and it's really cheap too. So now I didn't want to lug the whole 10-pound bag over here, but we also buy red onions in bulk. The reason that we do this is because there's so many recipes that I can just use red onions in, whether it's going to be cooked in like a soup or a stew or some type of one-pot meat dish, or chopping them up and putting them raw on top of salads. Red onions are one of my favorite things. I didn't always used to like red onions. Up until about 6 years ago, I didn't like onions at all. And then I had a salad at a place with red onions on it, and I was basically hooked. So red onions are great. That 10-pound bag easily lasts us about a month. And the nice thing about onions, if you store them in a cool, dry place, they're going to last you that whole month, and you don't need to worry about them going bad. Another thing that we always keep in our fridge is a large tub of organic baby spinach. Now, the great part about organic baby spinach, the way we buy it, is it already comes pre-washed. It is organic. It's super easy. I can just throw a salad together in the morning as I'm leaving for work to eat for lunch. It can be a great, easy, simple side for something for dinner, or you can actually use spinach in any of your recipes, things like that. It's super easy. You can basically just grab it out of the fridge, grab a handful, and add it to your recipe. You don't need to be, chopping it or something like that after it's been washed and you're waiting for it to dry and you have to get out the salad spinner. I mean, it just ends up being a lot more work. So this is one thing I always keep on hand. It's, pretty inexpensive too, especially for organic baby spinach. This is a 1-pound tub, but you can, this will at least make us probably about 6 to 8 salads worth, just because they really pack it in there. So definitely something I recommend, especially if you're just getting started. You want to make sure you have that ease of getting greens and spinach and stuff into your diet. So definitely recommend this. So other than grass-fed ground beef, chicken, all those kind of typical meats, I think that people attribute to eating a paleo diet, is one of our favorite things is sausages. Now, I just pulled this out of the freezer, so that's why it's kind of starting to defrost on me. But just put this down here. We get our sausages from a local Colorado maker. It has no nitrates, no nitrates. There's no added sugar. I think that's one of the biggest things that I ended up finding, is that a lot of places, even if they make their sausages in-house, I know Sprouts does, I know a handful of other places do, you need to be careful, because sometimes if it's not sugar that's listed on their ingredient list, they add evaporated cane juice, which is, you know, also sugar. So that's one of the biggest things to check out for. When buying sausage, you definitely want to try to buy from a local producer of the sausage if you can. I know it's sometimes a little bit difficult. We're lucky that Colorado grown or Colorado made, Colorado proud is actually the slogan for a lot of the goods that are sold that are local. They don't have any of the added chemical or preservative junk, and they don't have added sugar. So we love those. We get the Italian sausage kind, and we also get the chorizo. They're perfect for putting in eggs, in other just soups, stews. We eat them. We grill them on the grill, and then eat them plain for dinner with some you know, vegetables or a sweet potato or something like that. So sausages are definitely a big thing in our house. We probably go through somewhere on the order of 5 pounds of sausage a month, sometimes maybe a little bit more, since that tends to be what's in our breakfast. So one of the other things is this guacamole. Now this is pre-made guacamole. It comes in a pack. You can actually freeze these because usually, I think you can buy them in about a 4-pack of something like this. Now, I love making homemade guacamole. It's one of my favorite things to do, especially in the spring, summer. We will just buy a giant bag of Hass avocados, keep them out on the counter, and once they are ripe, I will make guacamole so that we can eat it over fish, over chicken, plain, over a salad. You know, you're really getting that really good fat from the avocado, really healthy fat. And in the fall and the winter, sometimes it's really difficult to find Hass avocados, especially in Colorado. California was a little bit easier, but this stuff's great. It doesn't have any added ingredients that are weird. It's mostly like lime juice and onion and some seasoning and spices that go along with the avocado. So you're not eating any preservatives in that either. They don't add sugar. I think that's the #1 thing that I realized as we went paleo is just how many, you know, pre-made food that packaged food that you're gonna buy has the added you know, chemicals and added sugar and just stuff that you don't really want to be consuming. So anytime I find something that's, you know, pre-made, ready to go, that's easy for me to just keep in the fridge or the freezer for the week is a win in my book. So that's that. This is my favorite type of coconut oil. It is the Spectrum organic virgin coconut oil. You definitely want to find unrefined coconut oil. This is unrefined, it's USDA organic, and it's expeller pressed. Now, I get this stuff from Sprouts. I'm sure you can find it anywhere else. It's not a Sprouts specific brand, but we go through quite a bit of coconut oil. The greatest thing about these two, once the jar is empty, I just pop it into the dishwasher, and then it is a perfect homemade dressing, like mason jar. So this stuff's great. We use this to cook all the time, and it's pretty inexpensive too. Just buy it when it's on sale, and I mean, I think this jar is normally about $11 or $12, and I bought like 5 of them when they were on sale for $6. So definitely keep an eye out for deals for this. This should come as no surprise to anybody that's ever seen a single one of my videos, a single recipe. It is kosher salt. This is my favorite kind of salt. This is the only salt I use unless I am baking, which isn't super often, but kosher salt is just amazing. We get a giant box of it, and then these are just like some old container, like salt containers that I use to keep a small amount, so I can keep it just right out on the countertop for ease of use, just to grab real quick as I'm making food. Kosher salt is less potent than regular sea salt, and I say less potent very loosely, and the reason for that is that because the salt crystals are bigger than regular sea salt, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt is not equivalent to 1 teaspoon of sea salt. So if you are going to be using like a teaspoon and a half of kosher salt, you definitely want to cut that in half if you're going to be using regular sea salt. So that's one thing to definitely keep in mind when you're reading some of my recipes. If you're using regular sea salt, you definitely don't want to be using 1.5 teaspoons for, you know, things like my meatball recipes or stews or something like that. You definitely want to cut it back. But I definitely recommend you going out to get kosher salt and keeping it in your kitchen. It is a fantastic ingredient to have, and it's one of my favorites. We go through a giant box of it, you know, fairly frequently for being salt, just because that's the only salt we really use in the house. Bulk spices are one of my other favorite things. We go to Vitamin Cottage or even to Sprouts. They have bulk spices. They're usually pretty inexpensive. Now, I will say one thing to be careful of is, because you are buying it in like a bag, or you're buying it like at Sprouts, you actually divvy it out yourself and then they weigh it. If you are like very allergic to gluten, you have celiac disease, you have some other, you know, allergy that is, if you have the tiniest trace amounts, you are going to get very, very sick. I would be careful, just because you don't know if the person that, you know, scooped out the spices before you decided to let the, you know, the scooper, you know, fall into something else or something like that. My husband and I, neither of us are allergic to any of those things. We don't like to eat them. We don't choose to put them into our diet, but that is just one thing. So for us, it's fine that we buy bulk spices. The nice thing is that I can make some of my own spice mixes at home. And they're usually pretty inexpensive compared to buying the little jars, and they're usually fresher, but it is one thing to be on the lookout for. If you are allergic to specific ingredients, I would just be careful. I would look, maybe ask one of the employees, see how they handle some of their stuff, make sure they keep it away from gluten-containing products. I think that goes for all bulk bin type of goods. Is you just need to be careful. You never know if someone's going to drop the scooper in something else, or, you know, if maybe they don't wash them, you know, separately or something like that. So just be on the lookout, but I definitely recommend bulk spices. They're fresher, they are cheaper, and you can get a bunch of different kinds. The one thing that I also do is, if there's a specific spice that I'm looking for, but I don't want a giant amount, you can get a tablespoon or something like that, and it'll cost you, you know, 10 cents, 20 cents or something, rather than buying a giant jar and then using 1 spoonful of it and then having it sit there for a year. So definitely recommend these. Our other last thing before we get on to a little bit of the treats is buying organic coconut flakes. Now, these we also get at Vitamin Cottage. This giant bag is, for organic coconut flakes, $1.99. I mean, I don't think you can get anything cheaper than that. This is only organic coconut. It is unsweetened. It does not have any added stuff. It even says on there it's not, you know, doesn't contain any other chemicals or anything like that sometimes are added to some coconut flake bags, where they don't want it to like discolor or something like that. This is just pure organic coconut flakes. The main thing I love about this is you can either toast it and it makes a nice little kind of treat snack, or I've been starting to make homemade coconut milk in our blender, and so this is what I use. And the main reason that I've been doing that is to try to steer away from the BPA from cans or from the other added ingredients that they put into other coconut milk products that you buy pre-made. So I will be doing a video on how I make coconut milk and then what I do with the coconut pulp afterwards in the coming weeks, so definitely be on the lookout for that. I've only made this now 2 weeks, so I'm trying to kind of refine my process before I video it. So this is great. Now for some treats. This is my favorite kind of dark chocolate. It is 85% cocoa from Lindt. The great part about this stuff is you only need a little bit. A little goes a long way. You can have just, you know, a square of it, and it's it kind of hits the spot for that chocolate craving you might be having. The great part about this stuff too is it does not have any soy, is it lecithin? I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that, but this does not contain any of that stuff. All this is literally is chocolate, cocoa powder, cocoa butter, demerara sugar, and bourbon vanilla beans. So you obviously are getting a little bit of the sugar. It's only 85%. It's not 100% dark chocolate where it's unsweetened. But this stuff is great. It's we've bought this on sale. I think it's usually $3 to $4 for just one of these little things, but you can find it usually for $2.50 or a little more than that if it's on sale. We just keep it in our cabinet, and then usually we'll keep one in the fridge so that we can have, you know, a nice piece of cold dark chocolate. So definitely recommend this. So for my last thing, it is these unsweetened banana chips. Now, these are not my favorite. These are actually my husband's favorite. I think I've mentioned on the blog, I don't like bananas, so he loves these though. The great part about these is they are bananas that have been fried in coconut oil, which this is the only place we have ever found easily, like without having to order online. These are from Vitamin Cottage, where the banana is fried in coconut oil and not fried in, you know, some other type of oil, and then they're also unsweetened. There's the only sugar that's in here is just the natural sugar that's found in a banana. In a quarter cup of these, there's actually only 1 gram of sugar. So he loves these. He keeps these at work at his desk. If he needs like a little extra snack, he'll put this into trail mix, or he'll just kind of grab a handful every now and then. But these are one of his favorites. They're also pretty inexpensive. I think it's like a couple bucks for a large bag, 10-ounce bag. So these are great, and especially if you have kids and stuff where you're kind of worried about keeping a snack on them in case they start getting, you know, super hungry at, you know, after a sporting event, or just keeping them in the car. These are great, and definitely try to find these if your kids are big banana fans, because all it is banana fried in coconut oil. No sweetener, no added junk. They're great. So that's all for today. These are just some of our favorites. I hope you enjoyed. I will probably be doing a kitchen favorite, some of my favorite kitchen gadgets that I've been loving for paleo cooking. It's pretty much for any cooking, but I will be doing that in probably another month or so to kind of show you guys some of those favorites as well. But I will be back next week with a new recipe. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye.